I didn't delete all my questions. Fuck yeah, brother. All right.
Fire.
All right. Let's do it. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
Let's start with you introducing yourself.
All right, I'm Keegan Lentz, also known as Lentz Glass, the artist formerly known as RPD.
Okay.
No one knows that.
No.
No.
Secrets. Why did you choose the artist name you did?
Uh, I actually didn't choose it. I was, I was, someone chose it for me. So what I mean by that is, I used to go by RPD, which was Rebellious Pipe Dreams, and when I went to Pilchuck, like my second or third year into Blown Glass, I met Serto, and we were partying together, and he was like, "Yo, you need to change your name. That shit is way too long." He's like, "I'm never gonna remember that." And I was like, "All right, man." And he's like, "What's your last name?" And uh, my actual last name is Russell, and he was like, no one's gonna remember that." And so he was like, "You got another one?" I was like, "Yeah, my other last name is Lentz." So he's like, "Let's go with that, dude." He's like, "Change that shit right now. Run up Lentz."
Okay. What was the first thing you made in glass?
uh, Pipes. Yeah, first thing I did was go to the Boral School, and I immediately took up their intro class where they teach you just like the basics, and we like busted out a marble, and then the same day I think we like started busting out spoons. So
Wow.
yeah, we were just like immediately thrown into it, which was really nice. Like that's what I wanted. So
Okay.
it was a really good introduction into glass that unfortunately doesn't exist anymore.
Do you still have those first pieces?
No, man, I don't think I have any glass that's older than like 5 years at this point, because most of my old glass I either cathartically smashed or I gave away to like my mom or like my brother. I think my brother's got like some really old pieces. My mom's got like some of my first marbles and stuff, but like my first spoon smashed. Like
Wow.
some of my first like water bongs, like or any type of like water piece, I smashed. Like,
Interesting.
yeah, I it got to a point where like I had so many pieces that I felt like weren't sellable that I needed to get rid of it, and I didn't want to just give out what I felt like was shitty glass to my friends and family. Where I was like, oh no, I want them to have cool shit and not shit. When I see it, I'm like, meh. So I just destroyed it all.
So, who do you think has, like, where do you think the earliest piece that still exists is?
Like I said, it's probably my mom or my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think my brother has like a Sherlock that I made like my third year in, and then my mom's probably got a couple marbles that are from like year one or two.
Hmm.
But outside of that, it's fucking dust to dust.
Yeah, crazy. So you kind of already touched on it, but how'd you get started in glass?
It was the war school. How I got into it was like I was originally in flight school. I was like going to become a pilot and all this shit, and then I was in the hospital for like 4 months, and then I had to be on bed rest for another 6 months. And during that time, one of my best friends came over and showed me, as a lot of people got into degenerate art, and that is what sparked my interest. As soon as I saw that, I was like, "Damn, that looks so cool!" Like, the fucking from the quote of Buck being like, I get to just hang out with the homies and blow glass and smoke weed till, Jerome Baker's quote of like, "This is a bong factory. You guys should be working harder." Like all of that was just like, "Damn, I want to try that." And then, as soon as I got better, my mom bought me a Groupon ticket to the Borough School, and I was like, "Well, shit, like let's try it out." And my first class was taught by Aaron B. And as soon as I fucking turned on the torch, I was like, "Fuck flight school, this is it," and I dropped out.
So you're already kind of doing my job for me, man. But who were some of the big influences when you started?
Like I said, Aaron B was my first teacher. She's still a good friend today. Um, and I mean, honestly, like a lot of the cats at the Borough School, like I feel like everybody kind of influenced each other there. Like, Dizzle taught me a lot of stuff. Aaron B I learned a lot of stuff by just watching the homies like Haps, Hester, Gaspar, um, fucking yeah. There's just a lot of cats there, and it made it easy, or not made it easy, but it made it inspirational. Like it made it motivational, and it made you want to work harder because you saw all these people making such cool shit, and you're like, fuck, man, like I want to make that. Like I want to get to that point of blowing glass,
Yeah.
and it really helped kind of jumpstart everything.
Okay. Where'd you first sell your glass?
Online, like I think the first spots I ever sold glass was just to like some local smoke shops, like tobacco smoke shops. Went around like selling my pendants to them and shit for like maybe $20 a pop. And that was like me getting good money from them. Like most of the time they just wanted to buy shit for like $10 a pop or something. But yeah, just like make a bunch of pendants. Like I was sculpting like female body pendants at the time. It was like my second year in. And yeah, just sold in a couple of smoke shops, and after that, I just kind of was focusing mainly on Instagram, like everyone else was. So I started in 2014, and that's when like the big Instagram shit started off. So it almost like was a good transition into it. I didn't have to deal as much with like the smoke early on smoke shops and all that stuff. Just immediately into the Instagram game.
Take two. All right. We had to empty some storage off the SD
Yeah,
card. We're real professionals here.
we're ready.
Okay, so the last one was where did you first sell your glass?
Oh yeah, just smoke shops.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So are there certain objects that you made at the start that you still make?
Fucking no.
No, no.
No. My style's changed maybe like four times over in the past 10 years. Like when I first started, I was sculpting, and I don't think I've sculpted in like maybe 4 years. Um, Honestly, what changed it is as soon as I got a lathe, like that changed my whole fucking trajectory in glass. As soon as I like got on a lathe, it was the same feeling as like sparking up that torch for the first time, where I was like, oh shit, this is what I was meant to do with it. So that is what started defining my style.
Okay. How many years into glass did that happen?
I think three. Yeah, it was like my third or fourth year in the glass. I drinking vessels. Ben Belgrad came to the Boro School to teach a class on intro to lathe working and entrepreneurialism or something like that. And no, philanthropy. That's what it was. Jesus. Um, yeah, it was intro to lathe working and philanthropy because drinking vessels donates a percentage of his sales to certain causes, and so that was like the other side of that class. But as soon as I started the lathe in his class, I was like, fuck, dude, like this is it. Like the fact that you can have a machine that spins it straight for you constantly, and I can have like free up my mind to do other things and prepare myself for other moves, and also just it frees up more mind or frees up more space in my mind to also analyze what I'm doing. And I felt like that's what really sped up my learning curve. But after that class, Ben came up to me and he's like, "Hey, I see that you like really love working on the lathe. Do you want one?" And I was like, "Yes, like more than anything. Like that'll change. That'll make it for me." And he was like, "Cool. Well, I'll hit you up whenever I find one." And I think it was like I think it was like 8 months later or something. He hit me up because Grav Labs was selling off a bunch of equipment, and he was able to get first pick of some of the equipment. And he was like, "Hey man, I got three lathes here. Do you want one of them?" Yes, without a question. And he was nice enough to like help me finance the lathe, and like he got it to his studio in Colorado, and I drove my fucking Jetta TDI all the way down to Colorado and put that thing in the trunk of my car and drove it all the way back up to Seattle.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's talk about when you first started. Kind of give me an idea of what the scene looked like to you.
And the scene kind of like felt surreal back then. Then I didn't know what to expect. Like I wasn't like a collector. I wasn't like big into the smoking scene at all. Like I smoked weed with homies, like I was never like meeting up with people and like showing off rigs and stuff like that. Like it all started from degenerate art and got into the Borough School, and that the Borough School is what defined the scene for me. Like seeing everyone else and what they were doing, and the fact that it was like, I don't know, 20 something glass blowers maybe in one space. Um, and yeah, the Borough School is what defined it for me, and that's what showed me like what the pipe scene kind of was at the time. There's definitely a lot of clickiness back then, which I think there still is among certain spaces today. But I do feel like things like that has gotten better through the past 10 years to where like the glassing today feels a lot more inclusive, and like people are more willing to like share tech, and people are more willing to like converse about what they're doing and why they're doing it, because it doesn't feel as much like, oh, this is mine type shit.
Hmm. What do you feel inspires your work the most right now?
Right now, honestly, a big shift for me has just been making what I want to make. Like that's been the true shift recently. Like in the past years, it's been like making stuff influenced by other artists that I really appreciate. Like years prior, I had been told a lot that my work was people thought it looked like Siren Apparatus's work, which I totally see. I've taken a class from him, and he's a huge inspiration for my lathe work. But in the recent like year and a half or so, it's really shifted into me just making whatever I want to make and not trying to focus as much on what I feel like the scene wants to see from my work.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. What's your favorite thing to do outside of glass?
I mean, honestly, I live a pretty chilled life outside of glass. I love to cook. I love to play video games at home, chill with my girlfriend. Like, it's pretty chill living outside. I snowboard in the winter, and every other day is just cooking at home and just relaxing.
What's your favorite thing to cook right now?
Cook, I mean, dude, I make some of the, I'll say without a doubt, I make some of the best fried chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. We'll have to check that out sometime.
Yeah, dude.
What's your favorite thing to make right now in glass?
Glass, dude, I just started making these couch potatoes, and they're ridiculously fun to make. I love doing the zong style neck on my lathe and just like trying to get that glass to like bend just perfectly and get really tight tolerances on the bends and whatnot. The Yeah, the couch potatoes are a blast to make right now. It's really become like my new favorite project
Hmm.
outside of like the cups. But the cups are more of like production for me right now. And the couch potatoes, or the what I'm calling the recline, is the passion project.
Yeah. What do you hope the scene looks like in 10 years?
Man, I hope the inclusiveness just keeps continuing. Like I hope that people continue to get less and less competitive. I don't mean that in a sense of like not driving to make more shit, but I mean not as much like, oh, this is mine, you can't touch it. Like, I think people should be allowing other people to use techs and like be open with your tech and share how you shape something or how you do a seal or how you do really anything, because the more that that information gets shared and the more that knowledge gets shared, it grows because more people can build off of it in ways that you probably couldn't. So I'm really hoping that that's kind of what it shows like in 10 years, like just more and more inclusiveness. And because of that, more tech, cooler fucking rigs, like cooler functions, like the only way it grows.
What do you feel more glass blowers should be paying attention to?
Themselves.
Yeah.
I think far too many glass blowers look at other people and look at and instead of like imparting their own influences on their work, a lot of people are just want to make whatever's selling, which is great. I totally understand that, and I've been there myself. But I think there's a good middle ground that can be met where you're like making stuff that you know is selling, but you're also like introducing your own elements to it. Same with the growing of knowledge and all that stuff. Like copying is really great and it's a good way to make yourself get better. Like I said, a lot of my early recyclers and stuff, they look like siren pieces, but now they don't. And now I'm making stuff that is really true to my own style while still making stuff that, my collectors love seeing and people enjoy buying.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Last one. What do you hope to accomplish in glass?
making a living.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, man. Then really the only thing I hope to accomplish in this is to just keep doing it. Like, I don't want to have to give this up for a normal job. Like, I don't want to do anything besides this. I hope to one day be known as a maestro. I want to be able to know how to do it all, and I want to just be one of those lifers that's able to do it when I'm like fucking 60, 70, whatever, and I make money off of it. I want to just be able to have my life be glass and not have to, rely on other shit to just live the life that you want to live.
It's great, man.
Yeah,
All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you, buddy.
always, buddy.